we are back here. We are going to be talking today about the different teams and preparation for the upcoming Famine Scourge. As you guys can see here, if you're doing difficulties 5 and above, the first couple nodes are going to require city characters, and then moving to mutants, and then of course 5 and 10 are going to require those Inhumans, A-Force, Young Avengers that everyone's already been preparing, and then the last couple nodes is going to involve villains and cosmic mutants, or cosmic mystics, excuse me. And yeah, we'll quickly dive into the roster so you guys can kind of see what I'm building here. But I think for the most part, everyone's already kind of worked on their Young Avengers and Humans, so I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I'll show you guys the lineup that I will be running. We're going to use Young Avengers, obviously. I think this is the team everyone's kind of putting a lot of their resources in because they were already a strong war defense team. They're good in Crucible. And then, of course, as well, it's just they had the most synergy with each other. It made the most sense. Next off, we have A-Force with Miles. Miles was kind of that odd guy out, and I kind of inserted him into the A-Force team because the A-Force was also missing a member, so it kind of worked out there. And as you guys can see here, they're slightly stronger than my humans, but roughly the same power level, more or less. And if this Scourge will be around the same time as the previous Scourge, it also means you'll have time to kind of build these characters up as well moving forward. And then yeah, let's quickly dive into the city next. So the city is the first couple nodes you'll run into, and I don't really think people are going to have too many issues with it. I think if you've been working on those Doom teams, if you've been working on Dark Dimension 5, you're going to have Cloak and Dagger or a mixture of the two. You're going to have also your Young Avengers in here as well because they are city characters. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind because the first two nodes do kind of have them coming in here. It's also a good idea as well to kind of bring them in to the second city node, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to get them to clean up and kind of build up their cooldowns and get everything ready to go for node number 5. Very similar to when we ran the first Scourge, where we brought in Ghost Spider and Scarlet and kind of got their their abilities all ready to go, so that way they were ready to launch everything at the start of node 5, and they didn't have to wait for the cooldowns. So very much I'll probably most likely be experimenting with that when it does go live. Not to mention we do have the Web Warriors, we got symbiotes, we have supernaturals as well. So lots of character choices, and as you guys can see here, we'll go look at the roster and you guys can see the team that I am using. But we're gonna probably go in here first with our symbiotes and or excuse me, not symbiotes, our Web Warriors. But you could definitely go in with your symbiotes as well if you have them leveled up. And then I'm gonna clean up here probably with a Cloak and Dagger, and if I need to insert certain Young Avengers, I can kind of slot them in here. But like I said, we've got some pretty solid characters, especially because Shang-Chi is going to be able to participate in this again, and him combined with some of the Web Warriors, you'll make a really killing team there. So that's the first two nodes. After we deal with City, then it jumps into Mutants. So let's take a look at Mutants here, and you guys will see that we do have quite a bit of options as well to use for Mutants. And I think for sure lots of people are going to have probably the new Unlimited X-Men guys leveled up as well. As you guys can see here, I'm starting to slowly get the team together in anticipation for Rogue, of course, and as well for Cosmic Crucible. And at the same time, we do have some really good options, especially from the first Scourge as well. We've got Omega Red, we've got Jubilee, we've got Emma Frost. For those people that are still using Phoenix, she's also a solid choice as well. Only problem is, depending on what Scourges you might have, if she dies, they might be able to get energy from her death, and that also I think would kind of put you at a disadvantage as well for the Scourge. So keep that in mind. Mr. Sinister, we've got Axeman, we've got lots of nice choices here, and I'll quickly show you guys the roster so you guys can see what I'm gonna pick here. But ultimately, I think what we're gonna go with is probably some sort of a hybrid team with Strife, Mr. Sinister, Omega Red, Emma Frost, and then of course as well, keep in mind we can also use the Axemen as well. So one of those two teams, I'll probably throw them in there to sack and absorb, and then have the other team clean up. And keep in mind as well, Emma Frost and Omega Red are both villains, so you don't want them dying on you early on. You also want to keep them later on for the later nodes. So keep that in mind as well. And once you do that, once you do those first initial 4 nodes, you run into the first Inhumans, A-Force, Young Avenger. So remember, again, right, work on these teams, get them built up. And even if you can't do the last node, node 10, as long as you can get to the first 9 nodes and get a decent score, you can always work on these guys later on during the course of the Scourge. That's what I did to kind of get my score up initially, and then once I perfected the combos and got everybody built up, then I was able to clear that node 10 and kind of get a high score. But anyways, we'll go more into that into another video once we have time for that. After you do the Inhumans, A-Force, Young Avengers on node 5, then we actually jump into villains. So let's take a look at the villains part here, and lots of picks as well. And because of my recent completion of Dark Dimension 5, we've also got Dormammu here, and we're going to definitely take advantage of him. I've pumped everything into him, went way past the high roller milestones just to kind of give him up. And that way we can use him in the arena team, and he's been holding steady for me in the arena, so he's been awesome. Very happy about that. Almost crucial timing, especially for this Scourge, so it works out great. We got Morgan Le Fay, we got Omega Red, we got Doom. My goodness, we have a ton of crazy characters, guys. So obviously, you know, you can make your pick here, but we're gonna have lots of nice choices, and I'll show you guys kind of what I decided. What we went with is a variant of again, I'm assuming some of these guys will live here. Hopefully Mr. Sinister doesn't die on us early on, but Ebony Maw for the offense down. We've got Omega Red and LDS for a ton of wind back and damage, and then we've got Doom, and then of course our finishing team is kind of like a Darkhold mixed up with Dormammu, and this is actually my arena team as well. So this is a very similar arena team, and that's why I know it's going to be a very good finishing team. Keep in mind as well, because the next section after villains is Cosmic Mystic. You also want to be careful not to lose any of these some of these Cosmic Mystic characters, because they're going to be very crucial for the next set of nodes as well. So keep that in mind. And having said that, let's take a look at that section here. We'll quickly just filter out. Cosmic Mystic does kind of, you know, loosen some of our options, because I think last time they just had Cosmic and you were able to use the Infinity Watch. So obviously this time we won't be able to do that. But having said that, as you guys can see here, we still have some very crazy characters we can use. Obviously, if you don't have Dormammu, don't worry about that. He is good, but he's not essential to this. And of course, we still have Adam Warlock. We've got the Eternals. Those 3 characters themselves should be able to kind of push you through a lot of these nodes, just because of how OP they are. We got Silver Surfer, Deathpool. We got yeah, and then I mean, of course, some of these Asgardians. I haven't pumped too much into them, but I know some people have, and if you have Mighty Thor unlocked as well, I'm sure you can form some sort of Asgardian synergy team as well. And maybe this is their way of trying to showcase this team to anyone that wants to kind of purchase the offers right now. But anyways, yeah, so as you guys can see here, I think any mix of Xerxes and Icarus are gonna yield some pretty crazy results for you guys. And obviously you don't want to use America Chavez in this until the end, so if you need to build up her charges again or get her ultimate or special up, and you can finish off a node like that, absolutely do that, right? But let's take a look at what I'm going to use, and hopefully this makes sense for you guys. But yeah, we're after we finish off the villains, we're going to stick with an Eternals with Dormammu, because this is actually the team that I use for my Doom raids, and I've been simming the Mystic section with this team. So it's actually quite a reliable team, because we get that revive from Dormammu, and if it wasn't for that, I don't think we'd be able to auto sim it as fast as we do and as effective. But that's the team we're running. And then of course we've got stragglers left over from like I said already, with Hela, Asgardians. We've got you know, like a whole bunch of different characters we can use, but I think this is probably going to be the best option. And for sure you can slap in Deathpool and some of those other baddies in there. We won't get to use Kestrel this time, which is kind of a little disappointing, but I think ultimately, for sure, we've got a good selection of characters we can use. So that's it, guys. I'll just quickly show the roster again and kind of summarize it all. But again, this is my Young Avengers with my A-Force and Miles, and then of course we got Inhumans here. Inhumans just don't have that much energy. They have a lot of like increased focus, but overall, Black Bolt and Yo-Yo, I mean, you can probably slot those 2 in with the A-Force, and it would probably make a better team as well without Miles. But again, I haven't put any resources into Quake, Crystal, or Karnak, because yeah, they either need some love or they need some sort of a buff, because their stats and everything like that are just totally totally not worth the resources. Then of course we got Web Warriors, and we've got Cloak and Dagger plus Shang-Chi for the city section. And again, we can have Doc Ock in there. He's going to be good for a lot of heals and lengthening those negatives as well. So that's going to be really nice. Then we went into the Mutants. And again, you can use Axeman combined with Mr. Sinister, LDS, Omega Red combo. So depending on what you guys have unlocked. And then after Mutants, we get that first Young Avenger A4/Inhumans node. So again, just kind of getting through it and making sure you're kind of saving those cooldowns for the final node 10. And then shortly after that, we have villains. And then we're going to take advantage of some of these crazy villains we can have access to. Doom, Dormammu, Morgan Le Fay, Emma Frost. I love Emma Frost. And she brings a lot of that speed reduction to the team. And then the cleanse and the slow as well is just amazing. So please have her in your guys' cavalry. I think you're going to see such amazing difference having her in there. And then again, we're going to finish off with our Eternals. And hopefully our Dormammu's still alive by then. And that way he can give everybody that revive. But Silver Surfer and, of course, our boy Adam Warlock to finish things off and hopefully get to the last node. So that's my lineup, guys. That's my team. Hopefully this helps you guys out, and yeah, let me know what you guys think. But ultimately, I think this will be interesting to see how this Scourge is going to be different from the first one, and will probably be a lot of testing and messing around as well. But I'll get some footage out to you guys once that goes live. Thanks, guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.